So we got a little bit of breath discipline under our feet. And Lord willing, you're starting to do that, getting into the habit of actually practicing these breathing exercises, the one I taught you, and even just resisting the urge to breathe a bunch, and then allowing the air to come in. One thing that I would like to talk about in this lesson in regard to support is the result of our support being our vocal cords coming together. Now, obviously, I am not a physiologist. I'm not somebody that has, opened up a cadaver and seen, the vocal cords face to face. I have seen videos and I have seen people like put up diagrams and stuff. So I do have some type of knowledge, but like in-depth knowledge where like a stethoscope is like going down my throat personally and somebody showed me like, hey, look at this. No, I haven't seen that. But I can tell you my experience and my sensations. When I noticed that I was singing in a way where my vocal cords were fighting against the air, and I knew that in my mind, then things started to happen where I felt like I was progressing. One benefit of you learning how to support or use your support, and I aim to get into that a little bit more in detail in a moment, but to skip ahead just for a second, is your support is directly going to affect the relationship that your vocal cords have, your vocal folds, in meeting. And all that means for you right now is if your vocal cords are meeting, then you are singing well. Now we can bring them a little farther apart so that we can get a looser sound. Right now in your developing process, I would, depending on where you are, I would say that's more of like an end goal thing. It really is about trying to get things strong first. Like I said in the introduction, just being able to be loud is such a big deal. Marnell Sample, Phil Maferge especially, like he was my vocal coach. Both of them in a sense were, Phil Maferge was awesome and a really great coach, and I've learned quite a bit from him and grown a lot. One thing that he taught in regard to support is that we really need to be connected to our anchoring. And people would say this kind of stuff all the time. Different vocal coaches that would be on YouTube or what have you. And one thing that I started to I wouldn't say resent, but I would get kind of reluctant about support because I was like, man, it just happens. There's not something that you can do, and maybe if there is something that you can do or I could do, I just can't do it. I got into an accident that injured me in my lower abdominal muscles, support muscles, some of them, and I was like, man, I just can't support. Well, after taking lessons or taking Phil Maferge's vocal course, where I've learned most of what I know today about singing, I started to notice when I would perform that I had this sensation of strength in my belly. I remember it very, very distinctly when I was doing a gig at this restaurant that I used to do. And I'm forgetting what it was called now, but it was really nice. It was a nice Italian restaurant. I was probably not supposed to be there. It's like one of those places that you perform at and you're like, people are eating right now as I'm singing at them, and they don't seem too amused, at least not everybody. But it was one of those places, but I noticed that when I was performing there, that there was this strength that was occurring right around my belly. And I was like, what is this? And by the grace of God, I really started to dig into that. And later I discovered that there were other ways to kind of tap into that. And I literally, and by the grace of God through Jeff Buckley as well, through his speech-like way of singing, which I would practice on the way home, which was like a really big deal for me, like learning that, because I was like hung up on like getting my vowels right, and so I was very, very like particular on my vowels at a time. But anyway, I'm digressing. Tapping into that support, I would practice being in this kind of upright position where I was almost like sticking my stomach out, if you will. And then my back was like caving in, so I could feel that sensation. I would practice walking like that while I was walking my dog, because I'm like, well, I gotta walk her anyways. So I started to take the things that Phil Maffurage would talk about in his lessons, about like breathing against the tension of your support, or like this system here where if I don't, I let it go, where I'm down like this. You couldn't really tell, but as soon as I bring my stomach forward and my back caves in like this, you can hear it on my voice. And if you breathe against that, it puts you in a really, really strong place when you sing. And it takes some time, and it took me a lot of time to even like get it. Because again, at a time I just didn't care, or didn't think that I could benefit from learning it, or it was possible. But after the grace of God in a big way, I started really seeing this happen. And not only that, through the restaurant gigs, and then also performing at assisted living communities, I really started to like dig into my connection to my support and to sing in a way that I didn't think was possible. And it really blew my mind. It really did. And this is a really big deal, and I want you to get that. If you can connect to your support, this anchoring system, how I showed you, at least briefly, it can help you get into that direction. Now, I know it wasn't easy for me, and so I want to make myself available so that I can actually walk through this, and also do a video response for you personally, just in case you're not getting it. Because again, I did not get it, and it wasn't until I felt it. It was probably a lot of prayer on the side of like my parents and maybe my wife as well, just being like, please Lord, help him sing well so that he can make some money, and that was something that just happened. Like, I want to say it was supernatural, because like, dude, like God really came through with my voice, and I didn't understand why, and I still don't. But what I do know is that was a grace, that was a gift, and I want to share that with you. And hopefully this is helpful. To recap, because I know I went all over the place, your support can kick in a couple ways. Really, what we want to do at the easiest level is to feel the sensation of you being connected to, or your voice being connected to, your lower abdominal muscles. And it might be kind of hard to see while I'm wearing my jacket, but what I want to do is just move it a little bit so that you can see. So if I have my stomach like this, what I want to do, if I let it go, it's like that. I'm going to kick my stomach forward like that. Here, I let it go. And I'm kicking it, stretching it forward, and you should feel this tension here, and you can even hear it on my voice. You can hear it, and then when you breathe, and then you try to speak on that, that's the place. That's the place where you want to be. And it really, really helps. Another thing is when you're in this position, it feels like your back is caved in, or caved forward. I don't know what the best way is. It's curved in rather than curved out. Now, I think that I was actually doing that for a long time, and it is still very possible to get a connection to your support with your back in the opposite direction. You see that with people that play piano. Freddie Mercury comes to mind. I don't know what he was doing at the bottom. He could have been a little bit more upright. But I've seen other people that do it the opposite way. No matter what the case is, just feel that sensation of connecting to your lower abdominal muscles, and that's where it's at. You can find it through this, either going with this pushing forward of your belly, or the opposite, pushing back. I strongly suggest this one because this one really helped me exponentially, especially while standing. That's like where it's at. Like that is awesome in comparison to when you're sitting down. Standing is like really great. And I should probably get into why that's important later. But in regard to your support, the other thing to keep in mind is how it's connecting to your voice. When you speak, you are fighting the air, and you are meeting with your vocal cords at the perfect kind of space.
If it was too loose.
If you weren't connected,
it would sound like that. And if it was too tight.
The tension is that would not be, that's just too tight. But when you speak, it's just right. One reason why I really like to go for a vocal approach, and I teach going for a vocal approach that is more like your speech, is because we don't really have to think about support that much when we speak. And if we can get the voice, your voice, my voice, to the point where when we speak, it's like we're actually singing, then we can get really connected to our support. If that happens, that is amazing. And what I've found in my own experience is like, that's where I want to be. So at least to recap, because this has been a rambling of all sorts of things, is I would like you to think about your support being able to be found through the movement of your belly out and your back caving in, and then practicing breathing against that tension when you go out on walks, when you're sitting at a public place. Just practice sitting upright there, shoulders relaxed. Don't put your shoulders like back. I know that there are other people that would say differently. I know for me personally, that hurt my back. If that does help you, because we have different body types, we're all made differently, then that's something else. But if you are in pain, I would strongly suggest that you stay like strong at the bottom, relaxed on top, just so that you can be moving around and doing stuff, as far as I'm concerned. Then approach your singing like you're speaking on pitch. And I know that might be kind of like weird and abstract to think about, but like if you can start doing that at the simplest level, as far as I'm concerned, you are singing because you're speaking it on pitch. Especially if you're being disciplined with your breathing, you're being disciplined with your support, you're being disciplined with your pitches. Seems like singing to me. And a lot of my favorite singers actually sound like that's exactly what they're doing. Jeff Buckley, Brendan Urie to a certain extent. I would say when he's getting up there, and then like it's a little bit more soft on the lower range, and Jeff Buckley as well. Jackie Wilson, although that is an operatic approach. Sam Cooke, the list goes on, but there seems to be this kind of communication that only happens through speech, and I think that there's something to this, and that's one reason I'm sharing it with you. And I hope that this blesses you. If this was unclear, I aim to give you a response video personally. Hopefully you found value in this, and there was enough information to help you to start putting these things into practice, to achieve your support of your voice and to feel it. I really want you to feel it, because we can imagine it, we can think about diagrams all the time or all day, but if we don't feel it and we're not connected to it, this sensation, we will either not care about it, or we will be missing out on a lot of growth and for you to be able to sing. Remember, when you do this, your vocal cords are resisting the air. If you have too much air right now blowing past your vocal cords, that's going to dry out your vocal cords. You dry out your vocal cords, you can't get higher. And that's what we want to do eventually. Right now, we want to get strong voices so we can continue and we can eventually bridge into our falsetto. And then we can strengthen that bridge, get into more of a mixed voice. And you've probably heard it like that, which is just a really developed, stretchy, full voice, and all the way up as far as we possibly can go. That's what we want to do, but no matter what, we need to stay connected to our support, and if we do, we will be able to take our whole voice up into as far as we are given the ability to take it. Hopefully this was helpful. God bless you, and Lord willing, I will see you in the next lesson.